Fire tornadoes are rare and extreme events formed by the perfect mix of heat, wind, and lots of fuel. Now investigators are looking into reports that one may have occurred during this summer's wildfire in Canada's Jasper National Park, a fire that destroyed hundreds of homes, scorched tens of thousands of acres, and challenged our understanding of how fires behave. It's just one example of the dramatic changes caused by a warming planet. CBS News national correspondent Dave Malkoff traveled north to learn more.
Foxtrot 1 lifting for reconnaissance of the Jasper fire.
On July 22nd, a wildfire broke out across Jasper National Park in Alberta, Canada, eventually consuming 96,000 acres, reaching temperatures of 2,000 degrees. Landon Shepard is a fire specialist with Parks Canada.
The fire actually burned the vegetation right over top of standing water.
It was several lightning bolts that started the fire, but to really understand why this fire is different, you have to see it from up here.
We actually had this large container, approximately 6,000 pounds. That got picked up, tossed 200 yards into the river. We actually had to pull it out with a Black Hawk helicopter. Incredible forces and not what I'm used to seeing.
One of the only forces that could rip up something like that is called a fire tornado. Similar to these, this summer's enormous Jasper fire burned so hot it created its own weather system.
Trees got ripped out of the ground while it still had secure root systems, burned, and then the winds were so intense that many of these trees got peeled like bananas.
The fire blocked all but one route out of the town of Jasper that night for up to 20,000 tourists and year-round residents.
Literally smokes!
Melody Scott shot this video of her family's escape.
In the video, you see all the little sparks.
I think if we lift it together.
Yep, use their muscles.
There we go.
Jasper strong.
What does it feel like going in here?
It's pretty unbelievable, actually, isn't it?
It is. The fire took down 360 structures. That's homes, gas stations, 2 churches, a financial loss of nearly $1 billion.
That was in the basement. There's our little workout equipment, and there's our fireplace.
And then there's the priceless stuff.
I found this tin. At first, I didn't know it was ours, actually. I think their birthday, and it's actually wedding cards.
When we got up above her house, we noticed something. The fire skipped along the treetops, destroying neighborhoods like this. It's completely gone, but the fire came right here. You can see the charcoal is left, but these homes right here are untouched. It's a full circle of untouched homes. So how did that happen?
Richard Ireland, Mayor of Jasper, and we're walking along the sidewalk on Turret Street, approaching 835 Turret, which is my home.
Tell me about the nature of this fire. I was hearing about 400-foot flame lengths, jumping from tree to tree. Do traditional firefighting efforts, do they have a chance in something like that?
It is just unfathomable for us, those of us who don't fight fires, to even understand how anybody could hold their ground in the face of those flames.
The burn is uneven because some structures actually had an elaborate sprinkler system. You can see it running behind the homes in this picture. Others had flame-resistant metal roofs. All of those upgrades are needed in this hotter, more flammable world. Canada's largest fire season was just last year in 2023. To give you a sense of the magnitude of all that, if you took all the carbon emissions that came from that one fire season and ranked it as a country, it would rank number 4 in the world, just behind the US, China, and India. The next worst fire season was this year, the one that released all this carbon into the atmosphere. That's because fires are getting bigger, risk to the entire world. It's not special to Jasper National Park, but this forest is special. As the world gets hotter and drier, people will have to adapt to the fires. So will the animals.
We're looking for any unnatural attractants that wildlife could get into, human food or garbage.
Claire Edwards is the human-wildlife coexistence officer. She took us into the Jasper burn zone that left behind a feast for local wildlife.
Some of those homes had fridges and freezers still in the basement that weren't fully burned, and there was food that was rotting in some of those.
So
fridges
through
and
the fire
freezers.
debris, through the closed refrigerator,
Totally.
that smell gets out.
Yeah.
Bear interactions are up since the fire. Elk also lost their homes when the woods burned.
People are getting closer to that bull over there.
Watch this as the male elk tries to navigate oncoming traffic to get to the females on the other side. Cars, people, elk, bears, fire, they can all coexist. But nothing can stop the warming from rolling across North America, impacting all of us.
This is a ceremonial sword that was left to me by my uncle.
Almost nothing is left of the home Mayor Ireland lived in for 67 years. What happened in Jasper can prepare the whole world for what's likely coming.
Although we did lose 30% of the structures, 70% of the structures were saved, all of our critical infrastructure. But this is a great opportunity for other communities to look at our experience and to see what they might be able to do.
I asked myself a couple times, did this actually happen?
Melody Scott is focused on a bright future. She doesn't want to salvage anything here. It is just too painful. But this forest will always be home.
We're in a beautiful national park, and there are still beautiful places to visit here. Just some of the places will take a little while to get back to normal, back to that beauty.
We saw a rainbow as we were driving over there.
I think that's hope. Yeah, there's gold at the bottom of that rainbow somewhere.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Dave Malkoff in Jasper, Canada.
Haunting, all that loss, not just for us, but for all the wildlife. And you know, you think of those forests have been around for centuries, millennia, and now this warming effect is really having an impact.
And I think what's amazing is actually her thoughts at the end, that there's still that hope, though, at the end of what is next, and even the mayor saying this idea of what can we learn and what can others learn, because you have to accept the reality that this warming has happened, and now how do we advance and go forward?
You first have to accept.
Big part of it.
That's the key.
Yeah.